To gain admission into the Hall of Fame requires you to be the best of the very best. And though some players may be having an incredible season that has turned their teams around from mediocrity, it can be easy to forget that in spite of their miraculous results, they probably won't be making it into Canton. For NFL fans, few arguments are more enticing than debating which players deserve a spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Well, if you ask us, a plethora of today's top NFL stars look like they're just gonna miss out on Canton. If we had to narrow it down, here's our definitive list of the best players at each position right now who won't be going to the Hall of Fame. Offense. Quarterback, Matt Ryan. We've gone back and forth on Matty Ice for quite some time, but with the Atlanta Falcons in the midst of mediocrity, we're struggling to see a path that will get him to Canton. Sure, he sits in the top 10 for career passing yards and passing touchdowns, but plenty of quarterbacks in this era are putting up impressive totals. And when Ryan's long retired, so many younger quarterbacks of today like Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, and Justin Herbert, among others, will surpass Matty Ice's totals. Just saying. If the 2016 MVP had finished off the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 51, it could have been a different story. But if you take away Ryan's MVP award, what else has he done to garner consideration? Again, you can't just look at his career passing numbers because so many quarterbacks of this era are putting up similar, if not better, numbers. Wide receiver, Antonio Brown. If the Hall of Fame was voting strictly on career production, Brown would be a lock for Canton. The 4-time All-Pro and 7-time Pro Bowler was unquestionably the NFL's best receiver from 2014 to 2018, leading the league in receptions and receiving yards twice during that span. Brown also played a key role in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl 55 championship season. But Brown's long list of legal troubles, off-the-field incidents, and behavior issues will most likely keep him out of the Hall. It's just hard to ignore the many heinous things Brown has done. Sure, Brown has mostly behaved since signing with the Bucs, but that doesn't negate his behavior off the field. Running back, Joe Mixon. Running backs these days don't have long careers, and as we all know, longevity is key to reaching Canton. Today's top running backs, namely Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, and Derrick Henry, have all performed like Hall of Famers up to this point. But it remains to be seen if they'll sustain their respective production for long periods. So for this spot, we'll settle on a very good running back who hasn't quite performed at a Hall of Fame level up to this point. Mixon has been a star for the Cincinnati Bengals since breaking into the league in 2017. However, we're already half a decade into his career, and Mixon simply does not have the accolades to back up a Hall of Fame case. He hasn't led the league in any major rushing categories, and despite 1,000-yard seasons in 2018 and 2019, Mixon failed to earn Pro Bowl or All-Pro nods in those seasons. We are watching prime Joe Mixon right now, and prime Joe Mixon just doesn't stack up with today's other elite running backs. Elliott has 2 rushing titles, for instance, and Henry, well, he's in his own class right now. Unless Mixon has like 7 more 1,000-yard seasons in him, and we certainly aren't betting on that, we don't see him getting in. Tight end, Darren Waller. The only 2 active tight ends with locked up spots in the Hall of Fame are Rob Gronkowski and Travis Kelce. It's way too early, but so far, we can't say we hate Mark Andrews or George Kittle's chances either. But we're already thinking it's a little too late for Las Vegas Raiders star Darren Waller. The Baltimore Ravens 6th-round pick, 204th overall in 2015, didn't discover his magic until his age 27 season in 2019. Waller is a cool underdog story who is a top 5 tight end in the game when healthy. But how many late bloomers in any given sport make it to the Hall? Waller doesn't have the eye-popping stats or accolades that are required to Hall of Fame tight ends. This entry is also based on projections that Waller will only be in his prime for about 2 to 3 more years. And again, we have to stress that longevity is a major factor in qualifying for the Hall. Center, Rodney Hudson. It is very, very difficult for offensive linemen to get into the Hall of Fame. Green Bay Packers icon Jerry Kramer, one of the all-time great guards, didn't get inducted until 2018, 50 years after his playing career. When it comes to offensive linemen especially, you have to be really, really good for a really, really long time. And Arizona Cardinals center Rodney Hudson, like former teammate Darren Waller, needed several years to finally round into star-like form. Hudson is one of the game's best centers right now, but being elite for roughly half a decade isn't gonna cut it. If Kramer, one of the most polished O-linemen ever, had to wait half a century to get in, can you really see Hudson getting in when his accolades are only a fraction of what Kramer accomplished? Also, centers don't usually play at a high level for long periods of time, so unless Hudson stays in his prime for, say, 5 more years, we're not at all bullish on his chances. Offensive tackle, Terron Armstead. Armstead has quietly been one of the NFL's elite offensive tackles over the past 5 or so years. Being underrated has its pros, no doubt, but it doesn't exactly bode well for Armstead's Hall of Fame chances. Armstead has been often overshadowed by teammate and fellow offensive tackle Ryan Ramczyk since the latter's 2017 rookie season. Former center Max Unger, another rock in the New Orleans O-line from 2015 to 2018, also stole some of Armstead's thunder. One could argue that Armstead was only the second or third best offensive lineman during his prime years with the Saints. That, coupled with the fact that he only had 3 Pro Bowl nods through his age 29 season, gives Armstead an awfully difficult path to Canton. He should be in the Saints Hall of Fame when all is said and done. But the Pro Football Hall of Fame? That's another story. Guard, Joe Thuney. Thuney was a cornerstone on the New England Patriots offensive line from 2016 to 2020, where he won Super Bowl 51 and 53 championships. Thuney has remained a force since joining the Kansas City Chiefs, but we're talking about a guy who had 1 second-team All-Pro nod and 0 Pro Bowl selections in New England. Again, any offensive lineman who wants to go in the Hall has to have longevity and plenty of accolades. We're talking several Pro Bowl and All-Pro nods. Thuney wasn't even the Patriots' top offensive lineman during most of his tenure there. He's got several good years left in him, but it's really hard to like Thuney's odds of sneaking in. Defense. Defensive end, Danielle Hunter. It's already hard not to like the Hall of Fame chances for the top defensive ends of this era, like JJ and TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Nick and Joey Bosa, Cameron Jordan, and so on and so on. We wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see all those aforementioned names get in one day. But for Minnesota Vikings pass rushing stalwart Danielle Hunter, it may not be so easy. Hunter broke out in 2016 with 12.5 sacks and posted back-to-back 14.5 sack seasons in 2018 and 2019. The sack numbers are nice, but has Hunter ever been a top 5 pass rusher? He hasn't led the league in sacks ever, and we aren't talking about a consistent Defensive Player of the Year candidate either. Hunter is just one of the many stars on a Vikings defense that features Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks, and Harrison Smith. He's a game changer on that mini D, no doubt, but compared to today's top pass rushers, not quite Hall of Fame level. Defensive tackle, Cameron Heyward. The Pittsburgh Steelers struck gold when they drafted Heyward 31st overall in 2011. He added more strength and speed to a star-studded defense that already had Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, and Brett Kiesel. Now he's terrorizing the league with TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Minkah Fitzpatrick. Heyward remains a key cog on that Pittsburgh defense, but can we realistically deem him a Hall of Famer? Not quite. It may not be fair, but he's had the fortunes of playing with so many other superstars, which have led to Heyward often getting overlooked. He's got a few Pro Bowl nods and decent numbers, but so do many other active and retired defensive tackles who aren't going to Canton. We wouldn't be shocked to see him in the Steelers Hall of Honor someday, though. Outside linebacker, Lavonte David. Before the Tampa Bay Buccaneers landed Tom Brady in 2020, the franchise was simply an afterthought. The constant mediocrity often caused folks to overlook the talents of Lavonte David, who's been the heart and soul of this franchise since his 2012 rookie year. David's brilliance was was on display during Tampa's Super Bowl 55 championship season. But we can't put him on the Hall of Fame just because of that. He's always been a very good linebacker, but aside from his 2015 and 2020 Pro Bowl seasons, when has David been truly elite? Think of the best linebackers of the past decade. Bobby Wagner, Luke Kuechly, Von Miller, Khalil Mack, those are surefire Hall of Famers. David has never been in their class. He'll go down as one of the greatest and most respected players in Bucs history, and that's nothing to scoff at. But it's also not enough to earn him a gold jacket. Inside linebacker, Dante Hightower. The two-time Pro Bowler has perfectly embodied the Patriot way and what it stands for. Hightower has won 3 Super Bowls with New England, and who can forget all the clutch plays he made during those championship seasons? Stopping Marshawn Lynch half a yard short of the end zone before Malcolm Butler's pick, the strip sack on Matt Ryan, Hightower has a special place in Foxborough, no doubt. But the lack of individual accomplishments, coupled with the spectacular but not breathtaking stats, will keep him out of the Hall. Again, you just can't put Hightower in that class of elite linebackers. Even the numbers at Pro Football Focus have suggested that he just isn't in that top tier of linebackers. Middle linebacker, Eric Kendricks. Kendricks broke out for the Vikings in his age 27 season in 2019, earning his first Pro Bowl nod. But, like we keep stressing here, being a late bloomer doesn't usually lead to his spot in the Hall of Fame. Like Hightower, the metrics at PFF show that Kendricks hasn't been anywhere close to elite for the majority of his career. He's a big piece of Mike Zimmer's defense, but in all likelihood, he'll fall short of earning his own bust in Canton. Cornerback, Stephon Gilmore. If Gilmore had spent the majority of his career with the Patriots, he would not be on this list, because from 2017 to 2019, he was by far the NFL's best cornerback. A true shutdown corner, Gilmore racked up 52 pass defenses and 11 picks in his 4 years with the Pats. The Defensive Player of the Year clinched Super Bowl 53 by picking off Jared Goff in the red zone late in the fourth quarter. But during his tenure with the Buffalo Bills, Gilmore was never elite, and given his recent injury history and the fact he's now on the wrong side of 30, there is very little chance of Gilmore sneaking into the Hall at this point. Strong safety, Malcolm Jenkins. Jenkins won Super Bowl rings with both the Saints and Philadelphia Eagles. A renowned leader in the locker room, Jenkins was absolutely crucial in helping 2 championship-deprived franchises finally win their first Lombardi trophies. But he wasn't a top-flight safety for a long period of time, like Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu. He was always very good, but never quite elite. The stats, 2 rings and 3 Pro Bowl nods, are very nice, but it may not be enough to garner the votes. Free safety, Devin McCourty. The veteran safety has been a workhorse for the Patriots during the latter part of their dynasty. Without McCourty and his clutch play and incredible football IQ, the Pats wouldn't have won their 3 Super Bowls between the 2014 and 2018 seasons. But rings alone don't get you into the Hall. At the age of 34, McCourty has only 2 Pro Bowl selections along with 3 second-team All-Pro nods. That's good, but not great. He'll always be a Patriots legend, but a Hall of Famer he will not be. But who do you think is the best active NFL player who won't be in the Hall of Fame? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.